So hey guys, Rocks is here, and you won't believe this, I literally had about 40 minutes of footage recorded talking about what I thought were the top 10 games from E3, for my personal opinion, okay? Yeah, I had literally over 40 minutes of stuff recorded, and I was gonna put like stuff from the trailers in there and like little interviews with people and stuff like that. Not interviews I did myself, but from like the E3 showcase and the stuff from the conference and everything like that. And then I realized that not only was I not going to have time to record, to edit all this stuff. I recorded it. I wasn't going to have time to edit all this stuff, but it just, I started to trail off a little bit at certain points, and it started to get uninteresting, and people would have got uninvested in what I was saying. So this is me re-recording this once again, and it's going to be a lot shorter, because what I'm going to do, I'm just going to scroll through the list. I haven't thrown away my video game list yet. I still have it right here. So what I'm going to do is just scroll through the list and just name off the games which I thought were the top 10 best games after E3, in my personal opinion, games that I'm looking forward to. Now, there's a lot more games that came to my attention recently that not only could have made this list, but could at least made a top 15 if I did a little bit more this time around. There was a shit ton of games that was shown. Just a whole bunch of games shown at these conferences, adding up everything, even from the PC conference, if you actually care about that one. So I'm still gonna stay with my list. I made this list like last week, so this is the same list. I'm just gonna throw in a couple of more games in there for far as the honorable mentions go, but I'm not going to go too crazy and rewrite my list, because even though there's been some better games I found out about, or more interesting games as well, I'm still going to keep the list the way I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read off the honorable mentions, and then I'm just going to go down the list of my top 10 favorite games that was presented at E3. Alright, so as far as the honorable mentions go, we got the Spiral trilogy. I don't think that should be up here that much, but you know, Spiral, I love Spiral. Looking forward to Spiral, so I have to put it up there. Metro Exodus was another one, and this was a game that I didn't play like the other ones so much. So this is gonna be my first Metro game, and I heard it's not free roam, so I don't know if this should stay in my honorable mentions or not. I think I might switch that one out with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which actually seems less like an Assassin's Creed game, and they're actually doing something different this time around. So hopefully that'll be better than Origins, which I kind of enjoyed Origins. It's been patched to hell now, so it's actually a lot better in my personal opinion, at least playing on consoles. So, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move it forward. Dying Light 2 and The Last of Us 2. There was a couple other ones in here. I had Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, but nothing was really shown, and I really wanted to see more stuff on that. We're obviously not gonna see some stuff on that until later on, so I don't think having that on my honorables mentions list is that much of a big deal. But at the same time, there are some other stuff that was shown a little bit more, such as Beyond Good and Evil 2, which I never played the first one, so I don't know who any of these characters are, but from what I've seen from like the backstage footage, it's actually very interesting, and it's so sad that they didn't show that at the conference. I don't know why. But alright, let's get into it. These are the top 10 games that I think that I'm looking forward to from E3. So I'm just going to scroll through the list. So number 10 is Battlefield 5. Number 9 is Jump Force. Number 8 is Fallout 76. This is going to be the second Fallout game I would have ever played. I only played Fallout 4. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Anyone who's the Fallout faithful, and what I mean by that is like a real Fallout fan, will tell me, hey, you need to play Fallout 3 or New Vegas. Hopefully one day I might, but as far as, you know, going forward in the video game community, I'm possibly going to try out Fallout 76, and I'll see how I feel about that compared to Fallout 4, because Fallout 4 did have some problems that needed to be addressed. But at the same time, this isn't really much of a single player experience too much. I guess you can do things single player wise, but there's like a co-op multiplayer thing going into it, but you know, I'm not going to talk too much about that. If you want to know more about that, go ahead and look up the game if you haven't already. Number 7, Devil May Cry 5. Huge Devil May Cry fan for people that didn't know. I played them all. The only one I didn't like was that remake or reboot or whatever they was trying to do. Glad they skipped that and said, hey, you know what, we're going to continue with Nero and Dante. We're going to continue it after Devil May Cry 4. I don't know who made that decision, but that's a good decision. And it's nice to see that Capcom realizing what their money-making franchises could be. You know, Devil May Cry probably isn't that high as something like Monster Hunter is for the Japanese community, but it's still good. It's still good. I love Devil May Cry. Number 6, SpiderMan. This one is from Insomniac Games, and it's starting to look a lot better. It's starting to look a lot better. The more I see of it, the more interested I get. So we get constant trailers and gameplays for that. I'm just looking forward to it. I just hope it's not short. I hope it's not a short experience, but from all the Spider-Man villains that are being put in it, it looks very interesting. Number 5, Cyberpunk 2077. This is from a company, CD Projekt Red, which I really freaking enjoy. I loved Witcher 3. I haven't gotten a chance to play any of their other games, pretty much. Witcher 3 was the first one I started with this company, as far as like playing their games, and to me personally, my favorite gaming series is Kingdom Hearts. But if I had to choose what was the best game ever made, in my personal opinion, I think it was Witcher 3. That's just me. Witcher 3, the complete edition, with all the expansions and everything, if you get that alone, the complete edition, you get all the expansions and all the extra stuff, all the DLC, it's literally the perfect game. The only problem is that it crashes if you're playing on consoles. I don't know how it is on PC, but on consoles, I had it crash a lot. And then, of course, they ended up patching it, and then after they sent out that patch, which felt like months or a couple of years later, it was much better. So that's me. I think Witcher 3 is the best, but so I look forward to them doing this sort of like cyberpunk world, which I've never seen that before. I'm not really into the cyberpunk stuff. I don't know too much about the cyberpunk stuff. I shouldn't say I'm not interested in it. I just don't know too much about it, as much as I know a little bit more about steampunk and some of the other genres that you can put out there, some of the other sci-fi genres. Cyberpunk I don't know too much about, so it'd be nice for them to delve into something like this, which seems a little bit out of their comfort zone, but at the same time, seeing the actual game, I'm like, oh, this is very interesting. You know, I wish I got a chance to see more gameplay compared to what they showed backstage. So I don't know how this is going to be, but I look forward to it. I think one of the only other problems I have with it is that it's in first person. They decided to go with it just being in first person rather than having the whole third person and first person view. I wish they would do that. I wish they would switch it back to where it could be in third person, because The Witcher 3 was in third person. It was fine, but I guess this is more on visual as far as like having everything thrown in your face, kind of like how Far Cry tries to do. So we'll see. But Cyberpunk 2077, I actually thought looks very good. Number 4, Ghost of Tsushima. Once again from another company that I really like, Sucker Punch. And I started with them with the Sly Cooper series, and then of course I stayed with them through the Infamous series. And I always had fun with their games. Their games always have a great level of detail, and seeing them do something like this rather than give us another Infamous game is a little weird, but if there's anybody that can pull it off, it's definitely them. You would think something like Cyberpunk 2077 would be higher, but the only reason why I put Ghost of Tsushima a little bit higher than that is because I really want a game like this, set in this type of setting in feudal Japan. You know, you have the Mongolian attack and stuff is happening. Oh man, all this stuff is so interesting. This is what I wanted from Assassin's Creed, but if there's anyone who can do it better than Assassin's Creed, it's Sucker Punch. So I look forward to that. I look forward to what they do with that. And they did it perfectly as far as the trailer, the presentation, the atmosphere, the graphics, the gameplay. It was perfect. It's about as perfect of a presentation that you can possibly get, and Sucker Punch has been known to deliver. In certain cases, you know, people can be a little skeptical about their games, but you can't deny there's a level of fun to their games, and they actually put effort into it. So yeah, this is a company I like, and I know a little bit more about than CD Projekt Red. Like I said, I haven't played a lot of their games. Otherwise, Cyberpunk would possibly be higher, but that's just my thing. I love this era. and I want to see more done with it, and I'm glad that we're getting more stuff like this, and if it's good, we can possibly get more games in this era, and it seems like we are getting more games in this era, because feudal Japan with a samurai and all that stuff, that shit's so fucking cool, but we'll see. Number 3 is the Resident Evil 2 remake. People who know me already know that I really like Resident Evil. Been playing it for years. I didn't care too much for Resident Evil 7. I know I might be in the minority on that, but I think I talked about that. I talked about why I didn't care about Resident Evil 7 before, so I'm not going to go into it. But seeing one of the better games in the franchise, Resident Evil 2, next to Resident Evil 4, which I think was the best one, being remade is very, very welcome. And I know a lot of people are saying like, hey, they should do this, they should do Resident Evil 3. We'll see, all right? Go out, we'll go out and, if Resident Evil 2 remake is good, we'll go out and support it. And if it's good enough, then maybe they might do Resident Evil 3 remake, okay? We don't know, because they redid Resident Evil 1 some time back, and you can get that on PS4 as well as Resident Evil 0. So we'll see. We'll see if they do that again. Number 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and this was this is a gaming franchise I've been playing since the Nintendo 64. Okay, I still have the original cartridge. It still works on my Nintendo 64. My Nintendo 64 still works. I love it. I've been following Smash Bros. I have every version of Smash Bros. Okay, every one. The last one that came out, I wasn't too crazy about it. I got it for 3DS. It was fun. Me and my buddies played it for a little bit. We had a ton of fun. The guest characters wasn't as interesting as past iterations. Now, where they're bringing everyone back, it's just great. That feeling of nostalgia. Like, seriously, it's been 10 years since Solid Snake's been in it, and Brawl made such an impact, especially after Melee. Mostly because Brawl, you can play it online, so that was the big kicker. And now, me and my buddies, me and my buddy, we're willing to get a Nintendo Switch just so we can play this with my other buddy who already has it. So. Well, who already has a Nintendo Switch, so we have not been really sold on the Nintendo Switch, but this might be a system seller for us, and it's just because of how nostalgic we are for Smash Bros. And how many iterations we played, and how many years we've played the gaming series. So it's one of my favorite franchises, man. And having the Ultimate in there and throwing all these new characters in, throwing all these older guest characters in. This is like the biggest gaming crossover. Plus, they're going to be putting some new characters in, so we don't know how long they're going to keep this thing going. And if they do it right and they put in some newer and better guest characters, then the last iteration, this can actually be a big one. At least for us. I would love to see more of that stuff, man. So I am totally down for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, I mean, great. Love to see some more. And number 1, finally, Kingdom Hearts 3. You should have already known that was going to be my number 1. Huge fan of the franchise here. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts for a long time. And I haven't been playing it as long as most people. When the game first dropped in about 2002-ish era, early 2000s, I didn't play it. It didn't really appeal to me as much. Yeah, I was a huge Disney kid and stuff like that, but the whole Final Fantasy part was actually the part that threw me off, even though I didn't know that it was actually its own story with Final Fantasy characters thrown in there as guest characters rather than it being based off of Final Fantasy and being turn-based and stuff like that. And then, of course, later on as I got older, I started really liking turn-based gameplay JRPGs. So the difference in from when you're a teenager at that age, like in your early teens, to where you actually become an adult is astounding. And it's been years, man. 2018 since 2002, the original game came out, since the first one. And then the second one came out in about 2005, 2006. It's been a long time, and there's been a lot of games, and this is the accumulation of everything, even the side games mixed in. I think the only one that's not important is Kingdom Hearts Recoded. That's the only one you can skip. But otherwise, I would say I really and I said this before multiple times, I really want people who have only played Xbox to play the previous titles. Otherwise, you said, well, the game is not going to be good if they don't explain like a lot of the stuff that happened in the past games. But of course, they can put a lore in there, which they did with Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, and it was fine. But you're not going to get the full experience of the characters and their struggle if you don't play the previous games. That's just how it is. This isn't like God of War where he's already in a new mental, so you can kind of guess what his past is, or you can just watch some videos on it, and that's just a beat 'em up game. Like the previous God of War is just a pretty much beat 'em up game. This is the only God of War with, in my personal opinion, that has any real freaking story behind it. That has an emotional story behind it. But Kingdom Hearts, all emotion. It's all about that stuff. So that's why it's so important when some of these characters' names are dropped, or some of these items are mentioning, and a lot of these villains are getting close-ups on their faces, because we're seeing characters that we haven't seen in a long time, or characters that have been previously killed off from the franchise somehow making a return with no explanation, which is obviously going to be explained in this next and last installment in the Xehanort Saga. So I would love for people to play the previous games and then get a feeling for whether they're really going to care about Kingdom Hearts 3 or not. And all honesty, I'm looking forward to it, man. Like, that's the game that really got me hyped for E3. All the rest of these games on my honorable mentions and on the list was a big surprise. Like, I never thought I'd be interested in something like Beyond Good and Evil. I never thought I'd be interested in Fallout 76, but I mean, even though I did play Fallout 4, it's just something, or Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You know, it's just something that's like, okay, we got a few more surprises this time around. At least for me personally, I wasn't there for last year's E3, so I wasn't able to cover all that stuff. But for this time around, you know, I'm actually looking forward to it, and Kingdom Hearts 3 just top my list. Alright guys, I think I've been talking long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. Thank you guys for watching my top 10 most anticipated games after E3. And yeah, I look forward to some more stuff. Red Dead Redemption, man, I wish that it could have made this list, only because I couldn't put it up there because there was nothing shown. Once again, Rockstar skips the goddamn thing, and I really wanted to see something on Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's the reason why certain games that we know that are coming out later on this year or probably early next year haven't made the list or been in the honorable mentions, because they wasn't mentioned at E3, which is very freaking weird. Final Fantasy VII Remake wasn't mentioned at E3 either, so of course that's not going to be up there compared to it last time. So so there it is. There it is. If I had a chance, I would put Red Dead Redemption 2 up there, and that'll probably be my number 2 spot. But I'll probably knock down some other stuff. I'll have to switch around some other stuff. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'll have to switch around some stuff if they could have made the list, but unfortunately they couldn't. So show that shit sometime, man. We need to get some gameplay videos on that. Maybe Rockstar might release something later on or something. I don't know. I'll look forward to that. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching, and catch you guys in the next one. So right now, Roxas, signing off. See ya.